John, it's Bill. You good to meet at Holly's in Benton Harbor? This is going to be something big.
The Berrien Community Foundation started in November of 1952 when 9 community members led by William Vaughter and John DeVries met at Holly's restaurant to create a place where donors could make lasting contributions to the community they loved.
All of us here take care of the everyday needs of our families and children, and we also take pride in laying aside something for their future needs. There seems to be a real analogy between our duty to our families and to the people of our community.
The idea was, and still is, sustainable giving through endowments that will forever support the organizations and causes we care about. The board worked diligently, and in 1957, they gave out their first grants. A total of $400 was distributed to 3 organizations: Mercy Hospital, now Lakeland; Michigan's Children's Aid Society Building Fund, now Child and Family Services; and Benton Harbor Junior College, which is now Lake Michigan College.
Their association with Bill Vaughter, who had the idea of starting this foundation. It was almost all volunteers at the time, and I was traveling quite a bit at the time. But it's a funny thing, I missed one meeting, and I was amazed when I came back to find out that they'd elected me the chairman of the board.
As the Community Foundation got more donors and assets increased, the board started an investment committee to oversee growth of the funds.
We have no end game in sight, so we're there for the long haul. And so we will not get worried about fluctuations. The market is the market, as one of the former members used to say.
In 1982, the foundation hit $1 million in assets under board president Robert Upton.
The foundation should not be merely a Me Too organization, but instead the foundation should develop new initiatives, broaden its perimeters, and be a catalyst for community betterment.
Kay Del Koch became the first part-time director, followed by Margaret Poole.
One of the reasons they hired me was to help bring the foundation sort of out of the vault. We moved into the old People State Bank building. There was one desk, there was no chair. We got another desk and a couple tables and a couple of chairs, and we were off and running. In the mid-90s, with Steve Sizer and Dave Allen kind of at the head of the development committee, we established the Speakers Bureau to share our story and to help people understand what the Community Foundation was all about and what we might be able to do for them.
As word got out, donors began to express an interest in giving through the foundation.
How well I remember the day John and Dee Dee first walked into my office and said, "We need to talk to you." So I listened to them, which is very important, and they shared with me what they wanted to do, and within a couple weeks, they had gifted an amount to the Community Foundation to establish the John and Dee Dee Howard Scholarship Fund.
This meeting set a standard of care for donors that was unparalleled.
What sets the Berrien Community Foundation apart is our donor services. We are a collection of many different endowments and funds that serve the community in ways that a number of years ago, 60 years ago, couldn't have been imagined. And donors can establish their legacy through us. They know that their gifts will continue giving back to the community far beyond their lifetime.
But donors found there was more to BCF. There was compassion, care, and legacy.
In 1996, we lost our youngest child to cancer. And there was this huge outpouring of sympathy and love and caring for our family that when we returned home, there was all this money. And we were looking for a place to put this money. As soon as I saw Margaret, I knew that was a place that we needed to go to. We joke about it now, but that day it was like 2 hours and 2 boxes of Kleenex. And we had an agreement with Berrien Community Foundation to put all of this money into the foundation to give a scholarship to a Lakeshore High School student. I was counting the numbers, and there were 20 scholarships that were given out. And there were 89 children. That wouldn't have happened if we hadn't put that money in Berrien Community Foundation. It would have never grown. It would have been exhausted long time ago. I think Jay is dancing in heaven because he knows that we did what we could do.
The board turned their focus to education and strengthening the family as a way to improve the overall community.
When we would give grant money, we would end up in the newspaper with the very typical shaking hands, handing the check over kind of boring photo. So what I tried to do was make a media event, and that's what we did with the Golden Acorn Awards when we were making awards and giving them out and making personalities out of the teachers. We had really great luck with being on television and newspaper articles, and it kind of blossomed into this thing that everybody knew about BCF because of what was happening with the Golden Acorn Awards. Education was really tied to economic development because people care about their kids. They want them in good schools. So that becomes a critical factor in whether companies are choosing to locate to this community, which is a community's most valuable asset, especially when it comes to economic development.
During her time on the board, Marilyn did even more to shake things up.
Marilyn Chauncey comes in with Margaret smiling, as I recall, and announces that she and Dick are going to give a $2 million gift to the Community Foundation. That was at the Golden Acorn Award, and no one was expecting it. The community responded fantastic.
The work paid off, and assets were at $11 million by 2003. Executive Director Nanette Kaiser led the organization through a difficult time in the market.
Even after 2008, we were able to continue to make grants because of some wise decisions made by the board and the investment committee. BCF continued quietly giving without the fanfare of Marilyn Chauncey and her board from the 90s. So when I was hired in 2013, the board decided it was time to shake things up a little bit and get some more people involved.
Because of a much broader scope, I know we as an organization are looking at how the tent can even be cast larger. When it says community foundation, that the key word with that is community.
So we've taken that direction seriously. Very, very seriously. Giving should be fun. Yes, we are very busy connecting needs and resources, but giving should bring great joy. If it isn't, we are doing something wrong.
In 1952, we started something that was unlike anything our community had seen before.
I love the Berrien Community Foundation because of the people. People with enough heart to give what they have that serves the most needy among us.
It was a wonderful thing for me. It was interesting to take part of it. And I thought now, as I'm 93 years old, I could make a major commitment to help all kinds of agencies within the Twin Cities.
We're not focused on just one area of the community. So your dollars given today, we're going to continue to pay off 15, 20, 35, 50 years from now.
It was one of the best chapters in my life.
The Berrien Community Foundation does help people create a legacy.
I can't wait to see what's next.
We're just getting better and better and better.
I think for me, Berrien Community Foundation spells family. It's as close to family as you can get.